Of course, we've been talking to the Russians, but we've spoken much more with the Americans.
The message they are trying to convey is essentially this, that if Ukraine were to pull its military forces out of the Donbas region
on my own,
as soon as humanly possible,
then peace will come as quickly as possible.
Our membership in the European Union is the third crucial component of these security guarantees. We absolutely need this. This is a package for us.
We are actively maintaining contact with the American side across all possible directions. As I have already stated, my dear journalists, Secretary Rubio is currently and then in approximately 2 hours we will be holding a call with
Rex Tillerson. I'm making a direct connection with Kushner from here.
And therefore we will do everything possible so that none of the parties involved in this negotiation process could accuse Ukraine of stalling, of not supporting the end of the war, or that something crucial depends on us. We sometimes hear such strange signals in the press that the end of the war depends exclusively on Ukraine and we are not moving forward with it.
We discussed the security guarantees, but we need an appropriate package. And the United States and Europe, they are on board. They believe that bilateral security guarantees between us and the United States are of great importance. The trilateral security guarantees are extremely important because this signifies the existence of a coalition with the backing of the United States. Our membership in the European Union is the third crucial component of these security guarantees. We absolutely need this. This is a package for us. One element doesn't work without the other. As there are economic security guarantees. Today, we constantly stress that we need to be ready. My team must prepare its part and parliamentarians theirs. Technically, Ukraine should be ready by 2027, but the date of approval and adoption depends on the dialogue with the 27 member states. However, we need to agree on the date in this document. I mentioned this earlier. I believe, with all due respect to the United States and to Europe, but if there is no specific date mentioned in the document, I am convinced that Russia will certainly block our membership in the future, and this will be a significant problem for all of us because they will either use other countries or work independently to prevent this, as they absolutely do not want to see Ukraine in the European Union.
of course, it goes without saying that every single one of our brave troops, and indeed all of our dedicated people, truly desired and hoped not to find themselves isolated or standing completely alone in the midst of this challenging and crucial struggle.
However, I could never publicly propose having troops from other nations because I was apprehensive, and I believe I was right because I tried to raise this issue. But I understand the reaction. I have never raised the question of inviting other troops onto the territory of our country because I genuinely believed that we would then lose any and all international support. I was afraid of that, and I will not risk it.
This is happening now because the price here is very high. It's a decision that each and every country has to make. Of course, we've been talking to the Russians, but we've spoken much more with the Americans.
The message they are trying to convey is essentially this, that if Ukraine were to pull its military forces out of the Donbas region
on my own,
as soon as humanly possible,
then peace will come as quickly as possible. These are the guarantees from Russia. Our message is the following.
Oh, and by the way, when we are speaking with the American side, there are many questions directed at us from the Russian side. They claim that, as you can clearly see, they have accomplished a great deal, while we are only bringing up one single issue, which is the territorial question, and essentially certain concessions or exchanges. Well, I said, perhaps I'm mistaken here, but I believe they never pursued any other goals than the occupation of Ukraine. The minimum they want is Donbas, the Donetsk region, but 100%, in order to sell this as a victory to their own society.
Germany is paying more than all the other nations. It is the largest contributor.
the largest country in terms of the aid it provides. We simply cannot compare the robust economy of Germany or its unwavering readiness and the extensive way we have been working with Germany and other countries. When we began to compare all of that with
On a positive note, with Norway. Norway also supports us extremely strongly. They have increased our aid through the PR line and air defense systems. Germany helps with money, air defense, and the Pearl program. Norway helps with money, air defense, and the Pearl program. So there are the northern countries, and then there are other nations, but I want to be absolutely frank with you. Plus, of course, all European countries are actively providing support. Ireland, for example, has also significantly increased the volume of its assistance, and many other countries are doing the same.
Russia wants to make a deal, and Zelensky is going to have to get moving. Are you feeling the pressure?
Just a little bit.
Stunning bombshell claim by Kyiv Independent citing Bloomberg that Russia and the United States made a secret deal to end war in Ukraine. The reported claim that Russia confirmed Zelensky's February 6 disclosure about the US-Russia economic proposal. Kremlin spokesperson Dmitry Peskov has confirmed the $12 trillion Russian pitch to Trump. He called it as a natural extension of shared economic interests. Bloomberg offered a detailed look at what Russia may be seeking from Trump. The outlet reported on February 12 that Russia seeks to secure a wide-ranging economic partnership with the US as part of an arrangement tied to Ukraine. Moscow wants relief from restrictions that have cut it off from the dollar payment system. Russia reportedly views the restoration of dollar-based settlements as part of a potential peace deal. Moscow reportedly seeks long-term contracts for American aircraft to modernize Russia's commercial fleet, as well as joint ventures in hard-to-recover oil extraction and liquefied natural gas production. The proposals also include cooperation in nuclear energy and expanded mining projects for lithium, copper, nickel, and platinum. Kremlin signals readiness to factor in previous American investments in Russia and contribute to compensation for losses incurred after Western companies exited the market following the start of Moscow's all-out war. U.S. firms would receive preferential treatment if they return to Russia's market. The plan also envisions joint efforts to promote fossil fuels globally as an alternative to the so-called green, climate-focused policies. At Ukraine's power corridors, Russia-US economic package is dubbed as Dmitriev package. The reference is to Kirill Dmitriev, an envoy who heads Russia's sovereign wealth fund and has remained engaged with top US officials, including Special Envoy Steve Witkoff. On February 6, Zelensky had claimed that intelligence had briefed him on what he described as a roughly $12 trillion framework for large-scale economic cooperation between Moscow and Washington. Taken together, the reported Dmitriev package suggests that Moscow is linking any movement on Ukraine not only to territorial and political demands, but also to a sweeping reset of economic relations with the United States. Russia sees the war in Ukraine as leverage to extract massive economic concessions from Washington while trying to push its maximalist demands for Kyiv. Moscow is not just negotiating over borders, it is negotiating over sanctions, trade, and the entire architecture of its economic relationship with the United States. For Russia, the war in Ukraine is no longer only about territory. It is leverage, a geopolitical bargaining chip aimed at extracting major economic concessions from Washington.